I'm joined again by Jay, as always. And this time, Jay, we saw the beta gear in the shop before. It wasn't blurred out.
Gnostin himself, I think, is a great mini.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, the dwarf. He's not really a dwarf, but he reminds me so much of one.
The Warhammer manlet.
Yeah. I agree. He's really cool. His depiction in the artwork that may or may not be on screen because so spicy artwork came with this update, even for King of Death standards. The many bunny girl pantsuit witch is in there, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
But yes, that blurred artwork probably to the left, or very highly emoji redacted artwork that's on the screen right now.
Just like slap the freaking dead Alistair emoji all over.
Yeah, it's probably something. I'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Yes, that is great. He's great.
I think he's wearing the Lantern Cuirass, Phoenix arms, the Lion belt, and Sunstalker pants. Actually,
really, I took it as a.
Yeah, if you look at it, like he's got like the segmentata from Phoenix and feathers on his arms. That's the Lantern Cuirass. That's the pattern. Those are the braids from the White Lion leggings, and the teeth on his boots are Sunstalker teeth. Shield Qatar when? That'd be cool.
Yeah, this definitely the Qatar looks like some kind of like Phoenix shield, kind of.
I wish we got that Shield Qatar. It might be more interesting.
Yeah, he does have Sunstalker boots on. You're right. I never looked at it.
The Stone Smasher's the beta gear that came with Gnostin here. Gnostin Stone Smasher is his name and his weapon. It is a weapon melee club, heavy and bone. Green up and green down. 1 speed, 6+ accuracy, 8 whole strength is pretty decent. Savage, demolish, which is we'll get to, and irreplaceable. And it gains plus 4 luck when attacking a knockdown monster, which is very good.
Yeah.
What's it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like as good as other beta content that we've seen, but it's just good and ungated.
Yeah. It's just like, if you ever want to make sure that someone's going to use your stuff or think that your gear is good, just put some amount of luck on it.
Yeah, that's kind of the patch, the band-aid. I like how we've gone from, wow, the Vespertine bow is really, really good because it has +1 luck.
Oh, Vespertine bow?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Vespertine bow is I mean, yeah. We're not going to make this video an hour long. I've talked about Vespertine bow, but...
I know, the point being, luck is just kind of handed out these days.
Yeah, to this degree, ungated luck. Well, it's gated by the fact that, I don't know, the monster needs to be knocked down, but that's something you're just going to do anyway. And not knock down the monster. You're going to attack the monster when it's knocked down anyway.
And this costs to make, it's just a regular old beta gear recipe: 2 large flat tooth, 1 legendary horn, and 2 bones.
Yes. Interesting one is this is it's a core lock specific to Lope. So I guess it's not core locked anymore once we get to node system, but this is the first Lope specific we've seen for beta.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
No, Screaming Lucy.
What'd she have?
Screaming.
Well, she had the Oni thing, but wasn't that gated? Was that gated just to Lope? I thought that also was.
No, I think it's generic. No, the mask I think uses the spiral horn to make. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also generic. You don't need to be in the Sun campaign at all.
You are correct. It uses a spiral horn and a perfect bone. Well, we got to get Demolish out of the way first. Which is interesting. Demolish is just an interesting thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's another special attack, quote unquote, so I'm inherently biased against it because I don't like those. But
yeah, it's just spend an activation to archive an adjacent impassable terrain tile. It doesn't say specifically impassable.
But like, yeah, it's uninteresting. It's like, like I told you before, this content drop is like Summer Goth and Cyrus. It's just kind of mild. Nothing bad, just mild.
Well, I think this one's good. I think Lolowen's a lot more interesting. So,
Depending on how it's not beta.
Yes, like I said, the demolish thing is the one that gets a little bit wonky. As long as something's not indestructible, you can remove it.
As long as it's not indestructible. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, as long as it's impassable and not indestructible, you can remove it. There's a lot to go into. This one's very, very, very interesting for multiple reasons. We could jump into. There's 3 things we could talk about with this one. We can talk about first. It's again another thing. So, Skrell. Last time we talked about Skrell. Skrell's great. Skrell's
not even beta gear. Skrell's
I know,
just
but
great.
Well, I just meant Skrell's a white box where you just get it's a $30 white box. You get about this much content that's in this one. It's lacking the painters thing. So this is another one where it's going to be with the painters thing. And if you're not a hobbyist, then you're just getting charged $60 USD for this. So, even though this is great, I love everything that's inside of here. I can't say this is as good as Skrell for that one reason. So now that we got that out of the way, now we can talk about 3 things here. Which one do you want to talk about first, Jay? We can talk about the pattern. We can talk about the character card, or we can talk about the glossary stuff.
Let's start with, honestly, the glossary, because we've seen this before.
We have. One of them.
In a couple of places.
One of them.
Yeah, it's true. But we'll start with the one that people have been like furiously debating about for a year now.
Yes.
What surpass means.
Yes. So we have surpass X, which is a gear special rule. When a survivor's wound attempt total surpasses the monster's toughness by X or more, the monster suffers an additional wound. So yes, we have seen this on the Red Witches thing, and I think we saw it, correct me if I'm wrong, on a Nightmare Ram Qatar.
No, it's Griffin.
The Griffin Qatar?
It's the Griffin Qatar. I'm like 99%.
Okay, it was on a Qatar. I remember that. And I know the Surpass, I think, is also on Brawl's Bow, right? So technically
yes.
That's also on a Qatar.
Yes.
So we've seen it on 2 Qatars. Either way, so Surpass it by itself. Now we know what that means. We're going to talk about how it works, because this one's on a club, which is just even more interesting.
It's silly. It's what it is.
Yeah. So with this, how Surpass works means that, say you were it doesn't do anything, like besides gate an additional wound, right? So Surpass X, whatever that number is, just gates an additional wound. It's just a gating for devastating, pretty much, which is great.
Yeah.
Gating for devastating is like one of the best things ever. Devastating actively hurts the game, kind of, depending on, like, Zambato. Some people just don't like it because you get
the only context devastating hurts the game is on the Zambato, because it's so early game. Yes. It's fine on Skleever. It's fine on Dragon Slayer.
Yep. I even think Devastating 2 is fine on the Griswoldo. And,
the Charge or whatever.
Yeah, and it's on Perfect Slayer too, which is fine.
Which makes sense. Those are super end game.
I agree. Like I said, Devastating is more of a problem when you can get it super early, because, well, it wouldn't be a problem.
Zambato versus Butcher is hilarious.
Yes.
For example.
Yeah.
Also, I looked it up. The Scourge Claw, the Griffin Qatar, gives Surpass 5 to the weapon left of it.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And also +5 strength.
Yes.
But anyway, sorry.
So Surpass is awesome. Surpass is great. I like the design. Yeah. Even regardless of what the X happens to be, I think it's great. There's some bonkers stuff. I know you and I were talking about it in Lantern's Reign. Taste called me unoriginal.
I mean, it's true, but like, I still use a Zanbato in leather armor every single run. It doesn't have to be original to be good.
Yeah. There's some crazy gear builds you could try to do. I think I was trying to work up something where I could trigger Surpass on Gold Smoke Knight. I think it's possible. It's really high. I mean, that's like what, 34 wounds
Like,
on average. I don't know, 32 to wound, right? On average, you need
something like that.
Yeah.
28. So I mean, you can do that with the gear here and Cycloid and Gloom awareness or whatever it's called, darkness awareness.
Yep, the Cyclone set. Yeah, so Surpass is really cool. It lets you. It's much more interesting when you need to work to unlock Devastating, more so than just make one affinity.
Oh yeah, like Skleever. Need a perfect hit. It's good.
Now the other one, which is Rush.
Which is also good.
Rush is also good.
Healthy for the game.
It is healthy for the game.
Rush, when a survivor hits 3+ times in a single attack, they rush for that attack. It's a survivor prefix.
It's also not gated behind being paired, so that's great.
But it is assisted by being paired, which is good because paired needs the help.
Yeah, and you also don't need to have it on the gear, like you were saying. You could do this even with. So we'll talk about the weapon here in a second, but
yeah,
the
but
weapon
you can slap
itself,
that on an ability, a fighting art, survivor status.
Yes.
You could slap that on anything.
Yes. The gear doesn't say you may rush while using this. It just is implied forever now. This is a rule that rush has this trigger of 3+ times in a single attack.
Yeah.
It is just a general rule.
You can rush with a bone knife if you want.
Yep.
It's
just a general
3+
rule.
hits, you get it.
All right, so let's talk about the gear. Let's talk about the pattern. The return to your favorite type of patterns, and mine as well.
They're good. I like them. I like them like that.
Yes. Lots
this
of
one would be a little cheap, but
that's the thing here. This one is crazy cheap. You want to read it?
Alrighty. The Lagomorph Cunabo, which I could have sworn was Conbo, but I was wrong. You can only make one of these.
Error and something, but
fair enough. You can only make one of these, and it is pattern 043, I think that is, or is that a 1?
What are you talking about?
The pattern number. I can't read it on my screen.
Oh, it's just one. Both of them. It's arc 1 and pattern 1. Yeah.
No, I mean
the number is
04
43.
Some 3. Okay. Yeah, it's just small on my screen, and it is arc 1, whatever that means. It is a seed pattern, which means for now it means that you draw it when a survivor hits 3 insight, or 3 understanding rather.
Well, 3 anything.
Yeah, which can be other things besides insight.
Yes.
Anyway, quench the weapon to add acid. Whittle bone into a smooth and tapered form. Break the lantern of a bloodthirsty survivor into rounded studs. It costs 1 bone and 2 broken lanterns, which is stupidly cheap.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You sift through the settlement storage to find the sturdiest femur bone. Hammer metal studs into the hardy bone using a club weapon, which is a required tool. And coat the studded bone with metal using scrap smelting, which is a required tool, to create a vicious cudgel.
Yep.
That's it.
It's
cheap. It's easy to make.
Very cheap. Even, when I saw this, I also thought it was very cheap. Even if you weren't trying to make this, let's say you weren't innovating at all, because there is a truth to the strategy that maybe you don't innovate till Lantern Year 3. I don't play that way, but I can't deny that it's good.
Cowards do that, I suppose.
No, sure. I can't deny that it's not good, right? It's hard to deny that it's not a good idea. So even if you were to take that route and never innovate until Lantern Year 3, you will get scrap smelting in your innovation deck by Lantern Year 6 because of Butcher. Or no, because of Lantern Oven and then Butcher. So assuming,
plus you can just special innovate it from the weapon crafter.
Yep. So even if you're not... The point is, scrap smelting's almost not even a gate. The game will give it to you eventually.
Pretty much. It's necessary to complete the game, I would argue.
Yep, and then club weapon, you can just make a bone club if you really want to get this done, like, super quick.
Yeah, like, I don't think I've ever not made either a whistling mace or skullcap hammer.
Yeah, I mean, even, like I said, even if you didn't want to do this and you didn't want to make clubs, you could just make a bone club and do this.
Yeah.
So... The gate this is non-existent. At most, this is like one innovation cost. You could just wait till you had scrap smelting, then innovate and try to pull it right away for your first innovation ever, or wait till you had lantern oven. I mean, and then just build a bone club. So at the very worst attempt possible at this cost 1 innovation, 4 bone, and 2 broken lanterns because you need to build the club. So 4 bone.
Yep.
And it
could have at least been a perfect bone.
Yeah, it could have been something because this is nuts. Like this is like,
well, it's not nuts. It's very, very good. But it only has 3 strength on its own.
So here's what's great about Surpass. I never see if a weapon has Surpass, you're making a weapon that will not get outdated.
True.
Because it's going to keep scaling, especially if, like, you can... The only thing preventing you from keeping this weapon relevant is how good you can gear your survivors towards strength. And that's not that difficult.
And also, activating it is kind of tricky with lantern armor.
Nah...
Not tricky, but, like, it's a little annoying.
Yeah, you need it gets easier the later you are in People of the Lantern.
True.
Because then you can use the it's not that you can't. You probably will unless you're going to bring the final lantern, but you'll probably be using one of those survivor lanterns. And then this becomes really easy to fulfill then because the survivor lantern's perfect for it.
I don't think the oxidized helm needs to be activated for earplugs, does it?
Even if I mean that's very, you don't need to do that, but yes. It's nice.
Well, I just like, no, you actually do need the blue down for the improved earplugs.
True. Oh, well. I was talking about making yourself deaf. So
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What I would use this on most of the time would be a lantern armor build because duh. It boosts clubs infinitely.
I agree. Oh, we should probably talk about it real quick. So yeah, it's 3 speed, 6+ accuracy, 3 strength with Surpass 5. And then when you rush...
weapon, melee, club, heavy, bone, metal, just for context.
Yeah, and then when you rush, double your wound attempt total on the first selected hit location. Now, this is bonkers with Lantern's armor. Or bonkers that it's a club. Because club already...
It stacks with club proficiency.
It stacks with club proficiency. Here's the other thing about, I feel so disappointed in us for not mentioning White Lion Mask. Not really, because whoever would want to use White Lion Mask for anything, I didn't even think about it. This is the first time I probably ever thought about using it seriously in a build. However,
really?
Well, we 100% blew it. All right, we blew it on evaluating the stupid Banshee stuff. That stupid Banshee stuff using White Lion Mask is ridiculous. Because you can't spend survival in that stuff. So you might as well just transfer all your survival into +1 strength tokens, and then use the Banshee Dura.
Oh, wow. That sucks.
And not only that, then you stack that on top of what we said. Then you use the regenerated, or the fixed Juggernaut Blade. Regenerating Blade, whatever it's called. The one that gives you +1...
calcified Juggernaut Blade.
Yes.
That turns your tokens into another +1 strength.
You have like 40+ strength. So we totally misevaluated that because we forgot about... Yeah.
Wow. And that's weird because that is a build I actively run: Juggernaut Blade plus White Lion Mask plus Red Fist.
Well, it is busted with Banshee Dura. That is just absolutely insanely busted with Banshee Dura. So
That's so funny.
yeah, I can't believe you forgot about that. But yeah,
Anyway,
with the White Lion Mask, there you go. With Surpass and White Lion Mask, you're gonna have just bonkers days because I like even when I was talking to Taste, you can get it to average to activate on Gold Smoke Knight, which is bonkers.
yeah, who has a 28 fucking toughness? That's great. But like, I don't hate it for being super strong. Honestly, I like this gear.
Well, yeah, this goes
like
back
Surpass. This is fine. It's not like easy. It's not devastating.
No, I agree. It's good and not good. It's great if you want to build it and you're just playing because you're gonna, you're not trying to break the game by using White Lion Mask and all this other nonsense, Banshee Dora to do all this nonsense. But I put this on the same thing as Riot Mace. If you invest in Riot Mace and you get it super early, you're breaking the early game. If you get this, if you go for this right away and you get this lantern, if you get this pre-butcher, you're slaughtering the butcher. Final one. Let's talk about the character card.
Character card and character cards, plural.
Yes, character cards, plural, or basically, let's talk about the Gambler's Chest thing that we now know exists.
Well, let's read the install guide first and then jump from there.
Yes. All right, go ahead.
So, cool. Lolowen's install guide. Lolowen includes a character card. Period. Character cards appear in the Gambler's Chest expansion. To use this in your current and future campaigns without the character innovation, which is a thing, I guess.
I hope so.
Probably. The next time a survivor is born in your settlement, they gain the hasty character card. Apply its rules to that survivor, limit once per campaign. Character card is a card that modifies how a survivor comes into the world. Character cards will bestow small benefits or penalties on newborn or newly named survivors.
Interesting.
It is Poots forcing his OCs into our campaigns, and I am here for it.
Oh yes, I love this. I love this.
They're like mini wanderers, right, Taste?
Yeah, this is great. We'll talk about what this does, the hasty thing, and how this works. But here's the interesting thing about this: one, character innovation. That is great. That's definitely going to be in the Gambler's Chest, I hope. I mean, this card...
Unless he forgets.
That's what I mean. We don't know exactly when this card was written and when it was scheduled to be released, but I 100% probably guarantee that character innovation will definitely be in the Gambler's Chest. The next one is really interesting. So without the character innovation, it's the next time a survivor is born, you get the character card. However, the character card actual glossary entry says that the character cards will bestow small benefits or penalties on newly named survivors, meaning the character innovation doesn't trigger on birth. The character innovation itself must trigger on newly named.
Yes.
So that's interesting, because we already know that when you name a survivor, you get a knowledge card. So you're going to be getting two different types of things upon naming if you have this character innovation.
At least some of the time, yes.
Yes. Now...
which I suppose you can abuse with nickname.
Yes. I wonder how that works. That's actually something that I would love to ask Taste, but we can't. Because it talks
It's also something you can abuse with that one Phoenix AI card.
Yes, or Slenderman. So the hasty here specifically is an ability. Now it doesn't say, according to the glossary entry, the one for character card, modifies how a survivor comes in the world. Character cards will bestow buff benefits. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're all abilities. This one just so happens to be one.
Yeah, it could be an impairment. It could be a fighting art.
Yeah.
Or a knowledge card.
Yep.
And it just counts towards the different limits and maximums and minimums for those things.
Yep.
Because you can have as many abilities as you want, but you can only have 3 fighting arts, for example.
Correct. So, this one just so happens to be an ability. I don't know if they'll all necessarily be abilities. This one is gain +1 accuracy and +1 speed during your act. If you are the first survivor to act during the survivor's turn. Cool. The game
very easy to activate.
Yeah, the game desperately needs more of this. Where not the micromanagement. Micromanagement, I think the game doesn't need that much more of, but the fact that tactical play style, where you're taking into account who's doing what first and when, not just I'm gonna make sure I headband last right before the turn, so I can make sure the monster gets targeted, or the right survivor gets targeted.
It plays pretty well with the combat order tactics or whatever it's called, the one where
yes.
You pick the order survivors go in.
Yep, I like that one. Lolowen, very interesting by far, super cool. The most stuff we've seen. I'd say we saw more from this release than we've seen from Gambler's Chest this entire year.
Oh wow, that is a sobering thought.
Well, I know we saw, besides from the fact that we saw ARC hunt events and stuff like that, this actually shows some cool stuff. Like we learned character innovation, we learned there's new character cards. Like that's cool. We've learned a bunch of cool stuff. So this was great. This is fun just going through, even if I don't necessarily recommend everyone go out and get this one because of the $60 price. But I think if you do get it, you're getting a lot, and I think this stuff is super cool.
And I really wouldn't doubt if that Weaponsmith mini, the secret surprise, quote unquote, is probably a character card.
Yeah, I bet a lot of that stuff that was always pitched for each one of those narrative sculpt minis, I wouldn't doubt if a lot of those also become character cards.
Like the Axerman family getting 3 character cards. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think stuff like that had a very mild addition that was just and it adds this fighting art. I bet it will probably be a character card. They probably won't add fighting arts anymore because that'll just blow up the deck and
either knowledge cards, character cards, or patterns are coming from these, or hybrid sets, I suppose.
Yeah, I think if you go back now, it could be a fun little thing. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll set aside some time and we'll go back and we'll look at the original pitch Kickstarter from 2017 and we'll try to speculate on how it will actually look.
Yep, do our little 2024 content map of what's in the chest.
All right.
That could be fun. Anyway.
Yeah. So thank you for joining me, Jay. I think we'll probably be doing this again next month, I assume. And then it will be Gen Con. Oh, are you ready? Then Gen Con.
I wish I was going, but I'm not, sadly.
Yeah, well, I am going, so I won't be able to do. We won't be able to do this until I get back. So it'll be old news by the time we record our video, but that's okay.
It'll be good. It'll be fine. Nukalope ho.
Yeah, hopefully Poots took a lot of questions. Maybe he'll answer some of that stuff. Did you see that post he put on Kickstarter? He's asking for questions for the update.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he said he was going to take some questions, so that'd be great. I'm looking forward to it. The beta gear is improving. It's getting better. The white box content vastly improving.
Oh god, yeah.
So this has been getting better and better, and more to discuss with every time we do this. So I will see you again next month, Jay.
I will see you whenever the next content drop is, I suppose.
Sounds good. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks as always for having me.